¿Qué onda? I'm Jenny. If you're new here, I'm from the US and I'm currently building a house in Mexico. I'm retiring early to the state of Hidalgo. We're going to combine a couple of topics into one today. 1, why the American dream is dead. 2, finances. And 3, why it bothers me so much when people compare the US to other countries, especially Latin America, coming off as being superior when really the entire planet tends to operate in a very similar fashion, and the US is the exception. Check it out! So as I said in the intro, the American dream is dead. Everything that you see is fake. It's just a facade, because whatever car people drive, the nice house they have, the nice clothing that they wear, all of the activities that they do, it's all based on debt. So because of this, because of all of the debt that Americans have, it bothers me when Americans compare other countries to our country, because it's just not a fair comparison. Other countries tend to live within their means. And sure, if they were spending money that they didn't have to, they could also come off as very luxurious. And side notes, there are some very wealthy people in Latin America. People aren't just living in dirt huts. I'll put some stats on the screen about a couple different Latin American countries and poverty. So to get my point across in today's video and to give lots of examples, I'll be talking about Mexico and St. Louis, which is the area of the US that I am from. I'm also going to be using the averages, not the medians for the numbers, just because I couldn't find the median in all cases, so I wanted to keep it consistent and do all averages and not some averages and some medians. So in St. Louis, the average household income is $68,661 a year. That comes out to $5,721 a month, or after taxes, $4,396. Currently, the average cost of a home in St. Louis is $210,000. If you put 5% down, that comes to about $1,200 a month for your mortgage. The average rent is $1,113. The average car payment, $677. The average student loan, $393. And the average American has $5,769 on their credit card. I'm not sure about you, but lately I've noticed a lot of people driving Ford F-150s, Chevy Silverados, Dodge Rams, other big trucks, or lots of Jeep Wranglers as well. After doing some research, a lot of those are going in the price range of $55,000. So let's take this hypothetical family that's making the average $68,661 per year. Let's figure up their bills. Some of them I've already mentioned, but I'll list them out on the screen as well as other bills. And let's see how far their salary gets them. On this salary, you should be able to make ends meet. I'm a teacher, and for the most part, my salary has been in the $55,000 range. Do I need to budget carefully? Yes, but I am not in debt. I have no credit card debt. It is not necessary, and it is not necessary for this hypothetical couple either, but let's take a look and see. So you can see their bills listed out here. Again, it's a household income. That's why I have 2 cars and 2 student loans, 2 car insurances. And I did this incorrectly on purpose. Usually these are the only bills that people factor in. You notice that they don't have any food, toilet paper, oil changes, toothpaste, none of that. Life insurance, like theirs, oh my goodness, lots more money. They haven't contributed to their retirement. Since it's a family, they should have life insurance. You should factor in saving into your budget. I overlooked these things on purpose for this example because that's how your average American thinks. So basically we're seeing if the couple shopped around for a different apartment or for a home that was below the average, which you can find easily I paid $55,000 for my house outside of the city. Mind you, it was a foreclosure, but you can find nice stuff in the $100,000 range in the St. Louis area. They didn't need a Jeep Wrangler or a Ford F-150. They didn't have to take out student loans. We see that they could have easily made ends meet without going into debt, but they chose not to. So my theory is, when people do this, when they're buying the cars they can't afford, when they're buying the house that is a little bit too much house for them, like you have to factor in, what if my spouse passes away? What if I get divorced? What if there's a surprise kid number 4? Like, can I still afford this and live comfortably? People don't think those through. So whenever Americans live beyond their means and they're showing up to work in their very nice car with new clothing, their hair done every month, their nails done every week or 2, or however often they're supposed to get done, it's showing society that that salary is able to provide that lifestyle when it isn't. So when you have some kind of average salary, like a teacher, for example, and in the parking lot you see a new Ford Mustang and an Escalade or whatever other expensive cars there might be out there, it's showing them like, oh, they're living comfortably. Why would they need a raise? No, we're not. Like, I'm working side hustles to live the lifestyle that I want. I still don't have a nice car. I still can't afford to go shopping. So those of you that have that kind of flashy lifestyle, you're kind of ruining it for those of us that do keep track of our money, because we know how far our dollar actually goes. And when you make it seem like we should be doing better off than we are, we're not getting the raise that we deserve. So going back to Mexico and Americans, comparing Mexico and other countries, especially again in Latin America, here is some data for you. In Mexico, only 6% of homes are financed, and 80% of Mexicans own their home. It's very common for Mexicans to live in like generational homes where they live with their parents and or grandparents for a long period of time until they have money to pay cash for the house. Or you'll see them building slowly. Like, they'll buy land and it might sit there for a few years. And then they put the barda, which is like the wall that they put around their property, kind of in place of a fence that we use here in the States. It might sit there for a few years. Then they put the foundation, it might sit there for a few years. They do little by little because that's what they have the money for. Whereas in the US, 65% own their home, but 67% financed it. Credit cards started gaining popularity in the 1970s. Only around 16% of families had credit cards during that time. It's now up to 70% in the US, whereas in Mexico, roughly 9.5% of Mexicans have credit cards today. Here's some more information just to help you see where we have gone over the course of history in our country. In 1955, the average family consisted of 3.59 people, and the average house was 983 square feet. As of 2021, the average family went down to 3.13 people, but the average size of a house went up to 2,000 square feet. So you tell me why we need more and more and more house if our families are getting smaller and smaller, because we want more and more stuff. As of 2021, the average size of a Mexican home was 1,400 square feet. So yes, maybe the family in Mexico chose to get a smaller car, like the equivalent of a Ford Focus. Maybe yes, their house is smaller, but it's because they're buying stuff that they can afford. So please stop judging others when you can't actually afford what you have. Am I speaking to all of you? No, there are people that are very responsible with their money in the US, but according to the data, that is not the majority. You're going to find that overall in Mexico, life is a lot more simple, but they seem a lot more happy, a lot less stressed. I appreciate you watching today's video. If you got something out of it, please give it a like. Be sure to leave me your thoughts and opinions in the comment section, and if you would like to continue following me in my journey in moving from the US to Mexico, be sure to subscribe. See you in the next video.